Alrighty, so thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode of Greater Than 0% today. We have Livi Kerszenbaum, who's the Senior Director of Corporate Social Responsibility at Orange County United Way. Livi, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Joseph, for having me. It's such a pleasure.
All right, so per usual, we start our episodes with asking what the mission is of the organizations we're interviewing. So what is the mission of OC United Way?
Yeah, here at Orange County United Way, our mission is to improve lives in Orange County by delivering measurable, long-term solutions to complex issues in education, financial stability, health, and housing.
All right. Those are very big topics that we'll get into. But before we do, why you? Why is United Way in Orange County an organization you've been a part of and wanted to stick with?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I never really had a career path. I sort of did what came. And along the way, I had some jobs where I got to help people. And then I ended up in Washington, D.C. as a lobbyist when the Obama administration released billions of dollars for clean, green, renewable energy technologies. And it was just an amazing time to be in Washington, D.C., to be part of that life force of the nation. And the companies that I helped represent were advancing science. They were doing R&D to push the envelope on energy, clean energy, renewable energies, and just looking at how we can do things in a better way. And I think that ignited something in me at the time. I thought that was just really cool and cutting edge. And then I had the chance to live in Costa Rica. So why not, right?
Yeah.
And I went from DC to Costa Rica, where there's just this beautiful environment, ecology, right? And I looked around and I thought, it's important for me to do something that helps to preserve this. And when I came back to Orange County, I came back because my folks live here. So as much as I tried to escape Orange County my whole life, here I am back in OC, married kids, bought the house. But when I came back, it was important for me that I had a job that could sustain me and gave back to the community. So United Way has really been just a beautiful part of my career journey. I've been here over 8 years now, and every day the work that I do gets to improve lives right here in Orange County. So just it feels good, it feels right, and it's a beautiful company to be with.
Wow. Wow. So 8 years. I'd love to hear a little bit about the organization over those 8 years. So Orange County United Way specifically, what were some of the kind of origin stories and history of that specific division of United Way, maybe whether it's programming or focuses on the community that you all initially had?
Yeah, I'm going to take a little liberty with your question and broaden it just slightly to give a
Yep.
bit of context. In the late 1800s here in the United States, we were coming out of what's called the Gilded Age. And there was a lot of industrial boom at the time. The wealthy were getting wealthier. But what that also created was this disparity in economics and in wealth and education. About 25 to 35% of Americans were struggling for in their day to day. So they were living in poverty. This is millions and millions of Americans, and especially here in Western United States. We were looking at things like child labor being a regular practice. So kids were going into these dangerous, hazardous workplaces. They were not going to school. Immigrants were coming in with the idea that America would be this beautiful, prosperous place for them. But the factories were horrible, workforce conditions were terrible, right? And as New York City and Philadelphia and Chicago were booming, what was happening is that those who could not afford to, which again, millions and millions of Americans, were living in these tenement buildings in squalor. There was no waste management, driving around, picking up the trash, right? And
Right.
health was deteriorating. So this is what was kind of happening in the United States. And there weren't really nonprofits and social services that could help meet the needs of the people. So what we see is a little bit of a revolution in the early 1900s, where we're looking between about 1900 to 1930. We see this progressive era where nonprofits start to become a thing, right? They start to
Yeah.
be established with Carnegie and Rockefeller coming to life. And social services or philanthropy really is starting to mature into its own. So, this is kind of what's happening in the United States. And here in Orange County, in 1924, we see the establishment of what was called the Community Chest of Santa Ana.
Mm.
And that is really the birth of what is today Orange County United Way. So the Community Chest was started, other local United Ways were started, and then these organizations, after a few years, all merged. And they merged into Orange County United Way. 1924, we're in 2024. We're actually celebrating our 100th anniversary this year. So this is a very cool year for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what was beautiful is looking back, the mission has really always been to improve the lives of people here in Orange County. And as United Way, we have focused on health, education, housing, and financial security over these 100 years. So just a lovely thing to see. And we've been here and we plan to be here, right, for the next 100. Maybe
Yeah.
not me personally, but United Way, right, will be around. And so we're excited to celebrate this year and to prepare for the next part of the journey.
Well, congrats on the 100 years. That's huge. That's amazing. There's so much history there. How is, of course, the question that a lot of people are thinking. Like, you guys focus on improving health, education, finance, financial stability, housing, et cetera, in OC. What were some of the maybe early on programmings that y'all did to start addressing it? And why were those some of the early programs that you did? And maybe how that has evolved to what you're doing today?
Yeah, so earlier on, United Way was an organization that took in funding and then redistributed it to other organizations that were serving the community in health and human services.
Right.
Over about the last 10 years, really, maybe 15 years, we have started to, the word's not coming to me, but to change a little bit, to modify how we were doing things, to create programs and services that we directly provide. We are more now aligned with our own programs. We do this, we have 4 big initiatives these days: United to End Homelessness, United for Student Success, United for Financial Security, and 211 OC. And in these big initiatives, there are multiple programs that address those areas, but we directly implement those programs as well as partner and fund.
Yep.
Continue to fund, but partner and fund within these large initiatives to meet the goals of student success, housing our homeless residents, right? Creating security within families, financial security and stability. And then 211, which United Way took on last year. We acquired 211 OC and now run it directly. But this is a health and human services referral system, referral hotline, back-end database. There's a lot of work that goes in. 24/7, we answer the phones, and anyone who needs a referral in health and human services can call the phone number 211, and United Way is who answers.
Wow. What led to that shift of OC United Way being kind of the connector of the funds to the organizations and wanting to take a little bit more of a kind of a leadership role? And it sounds like being the one that brings together the community organizations that are involved in similar areas, whether it's homelessness, financial security. What do you think made that shift, and how has it impacted what is being delivered to the communities?
Right. So if you remember in our mission, we talk about complex issues. And no one organization can solve any complex issue. It really takes, like they say, it takes a village.
Yeah.
So United Way in 2014 had created a strategic plan, and we named it FACE 2024. So from 2014 to 2024, we had a 10-year plan. FACE was to fund, advocate, collaborate, and educate. So I'm going to use homelessness as an example. Here in Orange County, there were a lot of organizations that were helping the homeless population or providing some kind of service within their care.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone was doing their own thing. So when United Way looks at solving a complex issue, the first thing really is to get everyone together, because with greater or together resources, right, together manpower, together ideas, we can change the way that things are here in Orange County. So part of that is what led to us doing more internal programming, because we don't do it alone. When I say we deliver internal programs, we partner with other organizations, the county, the cities, the district, the school districts, right, hospitals, whatever it might be, to make sure that we're delivering programming that truly makes a change in the lives of others here.
Yep. That makes it's like you're bringing together a mastermind of organizations that are have this very similar missions. Having interviewed a lot of different organizations all over, I've made connections myself, but I've seen how like there could be 5 organizations in the Chicago area doing the same thing and not know about each other. And so, what does it mean if you're able to bring those leaders of those organizations together and share ideas? And kind of uplift everyone with that model. So that's powerful. That makes total sense.
Yeah. And I love what you just said, because, we're talking about community impact in our programs, but there's this entire other side of United Way's work, which is working with the businesses right here in Orange County and looking at what is their, I'm in corporate social responsibility, so really this is more my role, but what is it that businesses are trying to achieve in their corporate social responsibility, and how do we help them align their employees or their workforce, align their resources with things that are going on in the community that are going to be official and part of the solution to be able to get even further than we could alone. Yep. So there's the programming, there's everyone who's doing these beautiful services. There's this whole beautiful other part, which is the business, right? The business sector here in Orange County, which is strong. It's a strong and very informed group of people or group of companies that really, truly want to do good here.
Yeah. Awesome. Data and impact. I'd love to hear whether you talk about the education, financial stability, health and housing, whatever area you'd want to double click into. But how have you been able to kind of track the impact that this model of combining resources, organizations that United Way probably needs to document and explain kind of the impact that you're having as an organization? I'd love to hear some examples, if you have any, of how you guys are tracking that and how it maybe is improved and what you're focusing on and some goals.
So every year since 2014 to 2024, we just had it a few, I want to say about a month ago, United Way puts out an annual event called Scorecard. And we do this around April every year. And we report out to the community on where we are and what we've been achieving. And again, not us alone, but where we collectively are and what we've been collectively achieving in these initiatives. So when you talk about data, data collection is large. It's a large job.
Yeah.
To have, someone who oversees data directly. We do it in different ways by gathering information from maybe, let's say, United for Student Success, the school districts, right? We look at graduation rates, high school graduation. So this is the big, as an example, this is the big goal within United for Student Success. And we're looking at, there are graduation rates that vary depending on region, geography, maybe affluency of that area, right? So we want to make sure that every high school student has the resources they need and the ability to graduate on time. And what we say on time, college or career ready.
Right.
Because it's not good enough to just graduate. You got to graduate and have this vision and have this possibility of the next step. So we'll work with the school districts to look at what graduation rates are like. We might work with independent data collectors to assess things around financial security and using maybe the census data, right? Looking at universities, what data are they collecting that gives a population sample of metrics that are going on. So different areas, we collect different data, and it helps us tell the collective story about what is going on in that community, what is going on maybe in that focus area, like student success, like graduation. And then, yeah, as I said, we report out every year where we are and maybe what to look for and what were the
Yeah.
challenges, what were the trends, and what were the good things that happened that year.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. So you in your role as the senior director of CSR, do you have any examples of, I know you touched on it briefly, that you're working with the small businesses and kind of connecting them with the communities in community-based organizations likely. I'd love to hear some examples of your role and kind of what are some examples of things you're working on with either in that small business space that you mentioned or just in your role in general.
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me see. I mean, I think of not even just small business, but just immediately a company that comes to mind is Eaton Aerospace. Eaton is an Orange County United Way corporate partner. What I will say is we've shifted our own way of working with companies. We used to be a bit more transactional, and we've moved into making sure that this is a partnership and a relationship. That is important to us, and we want to make sure that we're a value add to these organizations. Eaton Aerospace, as an example, is a company that has come to United Way. We've been now working together for decades, but comes to United Way and looks to us for employee engagement, working with their workforce, whether it be volunteering, making welcome home baskets. When we house a family, they'll get a welcome home basket, or being e-mentor. So for our students, right, we mentor high school students, and Eaton employees might be volunteers. They sponsor our events. This is a company, if I look at an example of a beautiful partnership where they're putting in some resources, donations, grants, they're engaging their workforce in creating change through our programs, and also participating in our events or speaking on behalf of the partnership, coming to meetings with us when we meet with other businesses. But what comes out of that is that they are able to streamline their CSR, to use our partnership, right, to leverage the partnership and reach the goals that they have. Because what they see is that when their employees are engaged, when they're volunteering, when they have the opportunity maybe to donate through a giving campaign that Eaton hosts, it brings this level of purpose to the workforce. It brings engagement and camaraderie to the workforce, team building into the workforce. So it's this beautiful sort of win-win-win, right?
Yeah.
United
Yeah.
Way gets a partner. Eaton is able to implement their CSR in an easy way through our programs. And then the community, of course, is the beneficiary of all of that effort. So that to me is an example that pops right into my mind and how I
Wow.
work with companies. Yeah. And so in my role, just to add, in my role, I help companies identify all the different ways that they can engage with United Way, our partners, or the community, and help make sure that I connect them to the right people here and create maybe a
Yeah.
portfolio of goodness. I just made
Yeah.
that up, but there you go.
We'll run with it. We'll run with it. That's such a really interesting model, and I'm learning a lot of about United Way just on this in this interview alone. And I probably should have started some of my initial questions like this, but United Way itself, the evolution of that organization, I'd love to hear your experience. I know it's been 8 years, and United Way has been around for a bit, but could you share a little bit about like the history of United Way and how it's evolved and kind of what are some of the main aspects that you guys are being engaged with? Because I think some listeners have heard of United Way, but don't know much about them and don't know how they've kind of been continually ingraining themselves within the community, within small businesses, which I just learned on this interview. And I'd love to hear just briefly as much as you could share about that evolution.
Yeah, hopefully I understand your question.
Yes.
So hopefully I answer it correctly. United Way is actually a global network.
Hmm.
So there's United Way Worldwide, there's United Way USA, United Ways of California,
Yep.
and then here locally there's Orange County United Way. So there's over 1,000 United Ways around, but each United Way is its own independent 501c3. So Orange County United Way manages our own business. We have a board of directors that guides us. The funds that we raise, the resources that we have, the partnerships we have are all focused on creating a better life here in Orange County.
Yep.
So what happens is United Way has these kind of overarching issues: education, health,
Yes.
right, housing. But what's wonderful about being local and being independent is that we can address what that means here
Yep.
to
That's
Orange
key.
County.
That's very important.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we're very locally focused. What might work somewhere else may not work here. And we have the ability to customize or to tailor, to create, to design from scratch solutions that are focused on Orange County and how things are here. So when people think of United Way, we're part of a global network. We're locally focused. We invest here locally in Orange County. And really, as I mentioned before, we've been doing this for 100 years. So
Yeah.
we're very knowledgeable about the complex social issues that are happening here and how people can get engaged.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for that very high level background for folks that didn't have that context. All right, so in Orange County specifically, you mentioned that United Way itself has some main hot topics that they want to focus on, and you mentioned the programs of United End Homelessness, financial security, and student success in 211.
Yeah.
In your role specifically, does that kind of span between all of them, and you're trying to make connections and work with organizations that overlap within all four of those with corporate social responsibility, or are there certain focuses that you have?
Right. So I know a little bit about a lot of things,
Yes.
all things United Way, Orange County United Way. Really, in my role, I first get to listen. I
Mhm.
get to listen to what a company is looking to achieve, right? And then when I understand what that company is trying to achieve, then we can get into this dialogue about what is it within United Way, what programs, what services, what engagement opportunities could help fulfill that company's vision of their corporate social
Yep.
responsibility, right? So I might have a real estate company come to me and say, we want to do XYZ, but we really want to focus on housing
Yep.
because we're a real estate company. And that's great. And I connect them to our United to End Homelessness team, and we have that deeper dialogue about how to get engaged in solving homelessness. But I might have a company that comes to me and says, we have 5,000 people in our organization, and we know that every person has their own calling, their own thing that speaks to them, right? And so we want to offer different types of opportunities so that everyone can feel that there's something to get engaged with. That might be a company where I say, great, let's talk about our 4 big initiatives, because we have a lot of different ways
I
you
bet.
can
Yeah.
engage, right?
Yep.
Student success, housing, financial security. You can go be a speaker, career speaker in a classroom. You can build a hygiene kit that gets distributed to our local homeless residents. In that respect, I would have a company that I work across all 4 initiatives and our various ways. For me, it's about understanding what that company is trying to achieve through their corporate social responsibility and how to best connect them
Yep. Yep.
to Orange County United Way so that, again, we're a partner that brings value back to what they're seeking to do.
Yeah, I think your role at United Way is such a unique role of people that I've interviewed, because I interview a lot of organization executive directors, and they're trying to make more connections within local businesses to partner for both sake, right? For the corporate social responsibility side, but also for having that joint support of the community. So, what would you say are some of the important topics to have to make those connections yourself, because you're the one making the connections, right? You go out to a business and then you talk with them about what their goals are, and then you try to figure out what community organizations that are a part of the United for Homelessness or financial security, student
Mhm.
success. Those connections are crucial for and very uplifting for both parties that you're connecting. So what are some of the conversations that you're having to make those initial connections, or initially bridging those two communities or those two organizations that you think some of the nonprofit executive directors, which are some of the organizations you're representing, are trying to do themselves? I'd love to pull some of the learnings from that, from your experience there.
Yeah, I think that's a great and complex question. So
Yeah.
let me unpack it a little bit for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Again, step one for me is listening.
Yep.
So I have like 20 questions, right? I play 20 questions with the if I go and have an initial meeting with a company, trying to understand first of all about the company, right?
Right.
How many employees? Where are you located? What do you do? All those kinds of just about the company conversations, and then I start to not unravel, but kind of right pick through the
Yeah,
information and
yeah.
say what is it are you looking to do for your workforce?
Right.
You know, because yes, there's volunteering, but why? Are you looking to create more team cohesiveness?
Or like retention, or yeah, whatever.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
right. And then that team cohesiveness creates a sense of belonging.
Yep.
Are you looking as a company at your company culture? Is that a culture where you are looking to do more diversity, equity, inclusion? Or, right, are you even do you have a culture?
Yeah, yeah.
What is that? Can you define it for me, right? How do you want to leverage corporate social responsibility, volunteering, donating, sponsoring, right? Maybe cause marketing where we brand a product together and put it out in the marketplace. How do you want to leverage that to go back and create a workforce that is engaged,
Right.
that feels good, right? When they feel good, they're more productive. When they're more productive, they are contributing more to the organization. The organization is more likely being more profitable.
Yep.
So, and there's a great example. I don't know. I heard this somewhere or read this somewhere, but imagine someone working at an appliance shop, right? And you as a customer go in to buy a TV. If this salesperson is not really engaged in their company, feeling a sense of purpose, they might be like, yeah, can I help you? What TV are you looking for? This one has buttons, right? Like,
Yep, yep.
and that's the service that you're going to receive as a customer. Whereas maybe you go in to a company that is doing corporate social responsibility, that has maybe a partnership with United Way, and their employees are volunteering quarterly, and they have a giving campaign, and they understand the purpose of their impact in the
Yep.
community. Because that's what we do. It's very important for Orange County United Way when we have a partnership, the people understand their impact.
Yep.
Yes, you're giving to us time, treasure, whatever it might be, but this is why and this is what it results in, because we want people to understand the change they're making. So here you are at this appliance store. This person understands the impact. They love their organization, right? When you go to buy that TV, they're going to have a big smile and they're going to be like, welcome. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy you're here. How
Yep.
can I help you? You know what? That person's likely to make the sale. So the company is going to see increased profits over the other
Yeah.
organization,
Yeah.
right?
And I think the common path is starting with what you mentioned it. It's a cool term, cause marketing. A lot of times people like have initial partnerships and say like 10% of this profit goes to this organization, and then that's how they leave it. But I feel like that should be the end. Like that should be the last thing that you're doing, where you're working with the employees to drive more engagement, to have them feel more invested in the company that they're part of, and then like at the end, like that cause marketing could come into play. But the real motivation is not really going to come from just a cause marketing program. It's going to come from that deep ingraining of the CSR into the culture, and partnering with the right organizations that are aligned with the type of industry that company's in. So that makes total sense. That's really powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah, corporate social responsibility, right? People used to say it's something that's nice to have. You're doing good.
Yeah.
But we've seen over the last few years, and even coming out of COVID, right? Some of the examples, how the companies that had CSR ingrained in their strategy,
Yep.
written into their culture, how beneficial that was to keeping their team members connected, to keeping them engaged, to keeping them healthy, happy, feeling good, productive, right? That really CSR goes so far beyond the doing good that it's like part of the woven fabric of what a company could really be.
I agree. Wow. So engagement, we've talked about a lot of the things that you're doing at OC United Way. People that are listening, what type of engagement are you looking for, whether it be volunteers, whether it be partner organizations, donations? I'd love to hear a little bit more about what y'all are looking for.
Yes to all of it. We have a lot of different ways to get engaged. One way to learn more about us is, of course, going to our website, unitedwayoc.org. In our little time we have together, I'll shout out 3 ways. So whether you're an individual or a company, one way to get engaged is to donate, right? The reality is the work we do does take money to do it. But your investment into Orange County United Way means that together we get to end homelessness, create security, help high school students graduate, get the referrals and the information into the hands of those who need it. We just housed 1,000, I think we're at 1,079 individuals now.
Jeez.
Right?
Wow.
So that's permanently ending homelessness for over 1,000 people. So when you donate, the investment goes to things like that. The second thing is volunteering. We have at least once a month some kind of volunteer opportunity. For individuals, we plug you into our volunteer. We have programs, we have things ready, we plug you in. For companies, we can design something from scratch. So if a company wants to do a day of giving, a week of giving, something like that, we can help design that. And we also have ready to go, beautiful boxed opportunities where you just plug and play. Our volunteer team is amazing. They do all the work. We want to make it easy, fun, and memorable, our volunteer opportunities. And then the third thing I would say is show up. We have about 4 or 5 annual events. Upcoming is in September, we have a golf tournament celebrating our Journey to 100. In November, we're going to have our Journey to 100 Gala. So this is the big culmination in November celebration. So those are some upcoming events. We also have membership opportunities like joining Women United, joining our Tocqueville Society. And these are gatherings and networking opportunities. Some have no cost, some are membership, right? But showing up to big events or
Yep.
networking opportunities, it's just a great way not only to learn more about Orange County United Way, but to meet peers, to meet other philanthropists, to meet business leaders, right? To network. So there's just a lot of beautiful opportunity within showing up. So I'd say donate, volunteer, show up, and check out our website.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything other than those you want to leave us with before we wrap up? And all the links of everything will be in the show notes, folks that are listening. So get engaged, show up, absolutely, donate and volunteer. But anything else, Livy, that we missed or that you want to leave us with?
I just feel very lucky to be a part of Orange County United Way. I think because even I have a job, right? This is my job, but this is a job that brings a lot of sense of purpose to me. Connecting companies to the opportunities to move our county forward, just it feels really good. And I think that's a sense that everyone here at Orange County United Way has. We all work really hard, but we feel good about the work. And we want to share that with everybody because collectively, the collective impact we can have really, I think, can move mountains. So that's very exciting to me. And, for any of your listeners that want to learn more, of course, please contact me, contact United Way. We're happy to have those conversations and to get folks involved. And then otherwise, Joseph, just saying thank you. Thank you for giving Orange County United Way and myself a little bit of time feature, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for your time as well and the amazing work that you're doing. So people that are listening, get engaged, and hopefully this was helpful and you learned a lot as much as I did. And Livy, good luck with everything, the big gala coming up and the 4 programs that you have. And thank you as well for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you. And we welcome everyone to come celebrate 100 with us. So
Awesome.
join us, get engaged.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye.